Straight from the Bulldog Studios at Bryant University, this is the Bryant News Broadcast. Featuring Todd Stewart, Sarah Larrabee, Nolan Thompson with the weather, Chad Sabo with sports, and Dana Arenik with the Bryant Update. This episode is brought to you by the Media Production Club.
Breaking news today. There has been another shooting on the campus of Virginia Tech. An intense search is underway for the gunman who has shot and killed a campus police officer and a student. Officials have not yet released the identities of the victims. Students are currently in a lockdown and are advised to not leave the grounds and stay indoors. Officials said that the suspect shot and killed the police officer, then fled on foot through a nearby parking lot. The second victim was later found dead in that same parking lot. This tragic event brings up past memories of the 2007 Virginia Tech massacre, leaving 33 people dead. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the campus and especially the families of the victims.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Bryant News Broadcast.
So Sarah, pretty intense story, especially with what has happened in the past for Virginia Tech. And sad to hear this.
Yep, sad day in the newsroom, but it makes me thankful to be on a safe campus and a safe environment. But like you said, our thoughts and prayers are with those at Virginia Tech, and we'll bring you more as it becomes available. In other news tonight, could there really be life outside of Earth? NASA scientists have just announced that they have found an Earth-like planet called Kepler-22b that could be, quote, just right for life. The temperature is about 72 degrees, a perfect spring day here on Earth, and scientists claim that the discovery is the best evidence yet that there are other life forms in our solar system. The planet is approximately 600 light years away, which would ultimately take a humanly manned vehicle at least 16 million years to find the planet. Scientists are excited about the discovery, and it gives hope for the future that more planets like this will be discovered.
So Sarah, that's pretty incredible. That far away though.
It's unfortunate. I wish we could travel to another planet, and who knows what this means for the future of NASA. You know, they're not sending astronauts to space anymore, but the telescope that they use to find this planet is almost a $600 million telescope.
Wow, quite an investment.
Yes.
An investment. Well, hopefully our weatherman can tell us a little more about this planet. We'll send it over to Nolan with the weather. Nolan?
Well, as you can see right now on the radar, we are in the clear, which would explain the sunshine we should be seeing for the rest of the week. The next chance of showers, if we take a look at our 7-day forecast, is not until next Tuesday. Clouds should be moving in Monday, but then Tuesday is our greatest chance of showers going into Wednesday. Beyond that, our extended forecast is looking pretty good. Now over to your Bryant Sports with Chad.
Thanks, Nolan. After blowing the roof off the Rogers Center in April, the UFC has returned to Toronto this week for UFC 140. Saturday's event is headlined by a light heavyweight title fight between champion Jon Jones, who is 14-1, and challenger Lyoto Machida, who is 17-2. Many people view this weekend's meeting with Machida as Jones' most difficult test yet. A former light heavyweight champion, Machida was once in the same position Jones finds himself in now, heralded as the unbeatable force atop the division, set to embark on a lengthy reign over one of the deepest, most competitive divisions in the UFC. This is a pairing of two unique styles and approaches inside the cage, and part of the interest in the bout lies in how things will play out between the two. Jones is poised to become the face of UNC as they embark on their new partnership in Fox. Charismatic, well-spoken, and exceptionally talented, a victory here could be the catalyst to a serious mainstream push for the defending champion in 2012. In other news, with 4 weeks left in the NFL regular season, it's playoff crunch time. The Packers and 49ers have already clinched their division, and with one more win this weekend, the Saints, Patriots, and the Texans can do the same. There are 4 teams in the AFC with a 7-5 record. That's the New York Jets, Cincinnati Bengals, Oakland Raiders, and the Tennessee Titans. I like the Patriots, Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Houston Texans to win their divisions. The AFC West is wide open, but I think Tim Tebow's Broncos might be able to pull it off. So for my wildcard teams, I like the Baltimore Ravens and the New York Jets. It's going to be a close one, though. Watch out for the San Diego Chargers. Did you know the Cowboys and Giants still have to play twice? I like the Giants to win the NFC East and the Saints to wrap up the NFC South. I like the Dallas and the Falcons to win the wild card, but I'm still going to keep my eye on the Detroit Tigers. If they make the playoffs, they could be a very dangerous team. Now over to Dana for the Bryant Update.
Thanks, Chad. Have you missed breakfast again to sleep in? Most students would rather stay asleep than wake up only 20 minutes earlier to eat their most important, and in most cases, favorite meal of the day. Not to worry though, Bryant Salmonson Dining Hall is here to help by providing a second breakfast for everyone. Late night breakfast will be served December 13th at 9 p.m. to all students. Stop by and enjoy that delicious breakfast you have been missing out on all year long. Back to you, Todd and Sarah.
Thanks, Dana. 2 episodes ago, I reported about the massive Powerball jackpot of $254 million and how the winners have yet to step forward and claim their prize. Well, the question of who won it is now answered. 3 lucky individuals have stepped forward to claim their prize: Greg Skidmore and Brendan Lakoff, and one who doesn't want their identity released. Once they won the prize, they promised each other to donate $1 million to a charity within 10 days. The trio of winners took their money and donated that $1 million gift to 5 veteran service organizations. The trio was quoted saying, "We cannot think of a more urgent priority than addressing the needs of those men and women who have defended our nation." The organization helps veterans and military members who have recently returned from deployments.
Even though some financial analysts have been quoted as seeing improvements in our economy, the United States has just released estimates of over $52 billion in damage for 2011. In this past record-setting year, there have been 12 weather and climate disasters, most of which are blamed on the Midwestern tornado outbreaks in April that killed over 320 people. The numbers for 2011 are not the worst that the country has seen, but it paints a scary picture for U.S. weather in the future. Speaking of national figures, let's turn it over to Doug with our World News Report tonight.
Thank you, Sarah. Now, as you may know, my job here at the Bryant News is to report on the world news, specifically news that really has nothing to do with the United States, but to instead take a more global outlook or global approach to more or less show that the world does not actually evolve entirely around us. However, tonight I want to take not so much an entire leap outside the box, but at least get a foot outside. And by that I mean I want to talk about a more or less foreign relations issue. For those of you who have been following the continuing situation with Iran, you have most likely already heard what happened today and where it falls into the continually growing list of events. For those who haven't heard what happened today, or who haven't really been following the situation, or are even a little confused about how things have been going, allow me to give you just a quick little recap. Just under a month ago, the European Union's nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency, went into Iran to inspect the nation's nuclear capabilities, which it had been allowed, but under the condition that it be used for peaceful means only. In other words, nothing to do with weapons whatsoever. Well, when the IAEA released its report, you can imagine just how shocking it must have been when they specifically reported that Iran appeared to have worked on designing an atomic bomb and may still be in the secret process or secret research of creating one or getting to that end. Well, shortly after this report was released, the Iranian government quickly responded with their own little statement, denying that it had anything to do with atomic bomb. It was not working to build one, it neither had that intention, and that its standing nuclear program was solely being used for peaceful means, such mostly as electricity. However, they also released a statement the following day proclaiming any sort of military action against Iran by the EU, US, or Zionists, referring, of course, to Israel, would be firmly responded to with, quote, strong slaps and iron fists. In other words, any action taken against Iran would be considered an act of war. Likewise, US and Israel released a statement that they were refusing to rule out any means in preventing Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. Now, apart from that, the other major response to the report was when the US and EU levied trade sanctions against Iran, hoping to impose economic pressure and prevent, if there is one, the continued development of a military-focused nuclear program. Well, as it turns out, trade sanctions weren't the only thing we were doing. Apparently, the US wanted to find out for itself if Iran had developed a bomb, which would explain why we had an unmanned RQ-170 spy plane in the region. This little piece of technology is supposedly the most advanced piece of espionage equipment in the world. But as it would go, that wasn't apparently enough to keep it from falling into Iranian hands. That's right, the most advanced piece of U.S. military hardware fell into Iranian hands earlier this week when reportedly the controllers lost control and the plane crashed in the Iranian interior. Now, Iran claims they shot the plane down, but seeing as this is a super stealth plane that has some of the most advanced espionage equipment on it, that's almost entirely false. Either way, though, their claim that they were in fact possession of it was proven true today, as the Iranian government released a 2.5-minute video displaying the captured drone largely intact, along with images of Iranian revolutionaries and a very interesting discreted version of the American flag. It had nice little skulls instead of stars and some Arabic writing that, for the love of me, I could never translate. They also released a formal protest over the obvious violation of their airspace. Now, how the U.S. will respond to this, ultimately what actions will be taken, have still or yet to be determined. Well, that's really all I have for today, so I will give it right back now to Todd and Sarah.
Well, that wraps up our episode for tonight. Alongside Sarah Larrabee, I'm Todd Stewart. Thank you very much for tuning in this entire semester, and we will see you next year. Have a great night.